Hello guys, and welcome to World War 5 in our scenario where Operation Unthinkable over here was attempted. So yeah, first of all we will be taking a look at the nukes. I know the borders are outdated, but I needed to be able to show the old nukes just to show how devastated some of these regions are. So nukes have become a lot bigger due to massive technological leaps, and the Chinese were really fearful that the Soviets had made a big enough technological leap that they could just wipe the crap out of China, and that's the bomb that they were building. Obviously, we know that they weren't, but it probably wouldn't have been something that the Soviet leaders were against. They kind of wanted to just attack the Chinese, but they just never had the time. They didn't expect the Chinese to come attack them now. But now they will. So the Chinese side will be highlighted in China's very bright red, and the Soviet side will be highlighted in their dark maroon. So yeah. So first of all, we will see the Chinese start to try and capture the Vladivostok region, and we'll start conflict in here. Just go. Oh, no, it's not. Just okay. And yeah, the Chinese will also manage to connect up their three puppets over here to Arab, the Socialist Arab Republic. Yep, that's what we're gonna call them, the Socialist Arab Republic, and this will be the Communist Arab Republic. Yep. See, big brain. The Libyans will start to push into Egypt. And yeah. Now over here in the Americas, this Brazil, I'm not gonna lie, is kind of cooked. As yeah, they're literally the only Soviet ally in that region. And the same is pretty much said for the Mexicans. However, the Mexicans have been able to make a push at least. So, on to the next stage. So next up, the Chinese will manage to capture Vladivostok and Sakhalin, and will push the Soviets continuously in India. The Soviets will manage to cut off, however, the Socialist Arab Republic from the coast country, because I don't want to be offensive, Syria and Iraq, leading to very big supply issues over here. The African front will be started and will later be expanded, and the Libyans will start to get completely thrashed on all sides. A massive landing over here will be made in Tunisia, however it will be a very poorly planned landing. So next up, this front we will see the Amazon region be occupied by China. However, there will be like pockets of guerrillas, but we just won't show them on this map. But note that the guerrillas are there. The Soviet, like Canada kind of country, the main North American country, will start to push back the Mexicans, and however the America country will also struggle to push them back, along with the Central American country, who is kind of folded from both sides. But yeah. Okay, so on to the next slide. Hopefully I don't have a mess up again. So, the Chinese will start a large front over here. It's just like a general Asian front, and start to absolutely cook. The Indians will then start to push into Pakistan, and will nearly capitulate the nation, with all of the actual Indian regions being under Chinese control. So yeah. Next up, we'll have a bit of a weird event taking place. I don't know if it's realistic. I mean, if it's unrealistic, then you can tell me in the comments. But basically, the coast country, Syria and Iran militaries were mainly just shipped straight out to the socialist Arab Republic instead of these three countries, and along with their leaders. So this extra military might will allow them to push back the communist Arab Republic by miles. The Chinese General African Front will go very well, and this landing will start to get absolutely creamed by the Libyans, which is honestly not particularly surprising, bearing in mind that the Soviets were just like, "Hey, here's a whole bunch of troops. Go to Tunisia," and just sailed them straight across. So yeah, the Algerians will also make some pushes up here, but nothing will be too big. The Mexicans will start to get pushed back in North America, and they will lose all of their exterior claims. And a front will be started as these guys cross the Darien Gap, but not by very much, over here in South America. So the big Asian front, the general Asian front by the Chinese, will start to absolutely cook over in that region. The socialist Arab Republic will start to get pushed back by the communist Arab Republic, which is Ka and Sa, which I think is kind of weird. The General African Front will start to push around here, but they will start to get pushed back in Egypt. And the Egyptians will start to push along Libya. As most of the fighting and the bulk of their military will be sent over here to deal with the Tunis landing, which did, and then the troops turned around to start fighting the Moroccan army. Next up, we'll see some Chinese-funded rebellions. So we will see the former Spanish lands start to rebel, and the former Italian lands start to rebel. So basically, all of the fascist countries will rebel. How Corsica has been under Spanish rule, not Spanish rule, Italian rule for just so long that it's just like, yeah, that's actually a Italian territory. And yeah, the Greeks, yeah, the Greeks. I don't know why that took me so long. The Greeks will decide that they want to leave Yugoslavia, along with the Bulgarians and Albanians. So yeah, that will be what's happening there. Next, over to the American front, all that we really see that changes is the Mexicans just continue to get absolutely creamed from both sides. That really does not sound right out of context, but yeah. Next we will see the advance over the Darien Gap to pretty much nothing. It will like slightly expand, very slightly, in favor of, I think it's the Soviets. It looks like, yeah, the Soviets. But yeah, let's see China's next move. Okay, so China will start a massive, spearhead into the Central Asian reason? Yeah, the Central Asian reason. Trying to get the Central Asian countries to rebel from the Soviet Union, which would then cut supply to Iran, allowing them to push through Iran and win the Middle Eastern front. Yeah, the Chinese will also slowly advance their general offensive over here in the north. However, it won't be by very much. The general African offensive, meanwhile, will just be absolutely cooking in the Chinese favour, as the Soviets' African forces will be mainly focused up getting rid of Libya so they can turn around and push the Chinese back. Over here in Italy and Spain, the communist groups will start to join up. And over here in Yugoslavia, most of the the Greek and Bulgarian and Albanian autonomous, wanting groups will be kicked out. With offers to make Albania, Greece, and Bulgaria a bit more separate from Yugoslavia. So yeah, we will also see Mexico's capitulation in the Americas, and just a little bit of something happened down here, and the Chinese will start to push in the Darien Gap front. Next up, we will see the Chinese get absolutely mauled by the Soviets, because now it's the Soviets' big counteroffensive, right? They will manage to capture the tip of the spearhead and form an encirclement out of it, which, ouch, is not going to go very well in the Chinese' favour. Carr will then start to push back Saar by miles, and the Libyans will start to get absolutely carved up by Soviet forces. The German military will then be sent in to quell the north of Italy while the Soviets focus in on other things, and the French will be sent in to deal with the Spanish. That's not going to go very well. But it actually will, because the local Italian population will be promised that they will be reunited if they stop trying to rebel under the Chinese ways, and same offer will be given over here in Spain, which will probably help. Probably. The African General Front, however, will continue to be good cooking for the Chinese, as they just know Africa better. They've been influencing it there. They were like the first country to get influence in there, so they know it pretty well. They know it pretty well. Not much will happen in the Americas. Hawaii will be captured by the Soviets, and a little bit of difference will be made in the Darien Gap front, as the Soviets will just push them back just that little smidgen. So yeah, see the next moves. So next up, the Soviets will pretty much destroy this encirclement, killing loads and loads and loads of people. And the Italians will start to unify in their march to get rid of the communists in the south. Similar things will happen over here in, Spain. And Libya will just continue to be absolutely crushed. No other differences will happen on the African or Middle Eastern fronts, however, and the American front will just continue to stall as normal. Okay, so next up, the Chinese will start to push back the Soviets. Again. So yeah, it just seems to be a very back and forth war. Restarting the General Asian offensive, and not trying to spearhead over here in Kazakhstan. And yeah, Saar will start to push back Car, and yeah, things will be going well for the Chinese. Libya will capitulate, but the African front will surge forward. Spain will be quelled by the communists. Sorry, by the French and and the Soviets, the German dudes, will start to completely end the Italian resistance. The Chinese will recapture Hawaii, and absolutely nothing will happen on the Darien Gap front again. Honestly, it's not that surprising. So, next up for our final thing of the episode, I think. We will see the Chinese general Asian offensive continue, and a new idea being put forward to connect up these two fronts. So they will both start to rapidly. So Sa and the Chinese African dudes will start to push up the Red Sea to try and unite. Unite? I can't talk. I mean, I suppose they are, yeah, uniting the fronts. Pakistan will just be completely capitulated. Oh, that's been like that for ages, and I've just forgot to say. Um, the African front will just kind of keep raging on, and most of Italy will be like de-resistified by the Soviets, minus the little tip of the heel and Sicily. And again, pretty much nothing will happen in the American front. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. This is part 1 of 3 parts to World War. So yeah, I hope you really enjoyed. There's going to be some pretty big twists and turns, but this was just a pretty normal conventional war. So yeah, anyway guys, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.